Hey guys, Dendritus here, bringing the first video. So, on this video, I'm going to be giving us basic information to the game of League of Legends. Now, this is not meant to be an in-depth guide to the game anyway. The goal of this game is just to provide you the basic information of the game needed to watch or play while not being completely lost. Because League of Legends is such a complex game, this video will be broken into several parts, covering things such as the map, the objective of the game, and the champions of the game. With the intro out of the way, let's just get started. The first thing I'm gonna cover is the map. A map in League of Legends is called the Summoner's Rift and is split into two different sides, the red side and the blue side. The river is the dividing line between these two lines. Pretty easy so far. Now onto the more complicated stuff. On the map there are three lanes, the top lane, the middle lane, and the bottom lane. While the top lane is simply called the top lane, the middle lane is referred to as the mid lane, while the bottom lane is called the bot lane. In between these three lines is an area known as the jungle. And the last important features of the map are spawn fountains where players will respawn whenever they die. These are the main features of the map, and will be referred throughout the rest of the video. But now that we've covered the map's feature, we can move on to more specific things, starting with the lanes and their corresponding positions. In each of the three lanes, minions from each team will walk down the lane and meet in the middle. When killed, these minions will provide players with experience and gold, which is very important. In order to maximize the amount of gold each team gets, players will choose one of the 5 positions. These positions are top laner, mid laner, attack damage carry or ADC for short, support and jungler. Here's a quick rundown of where each positions will go. The top laner will go to the top lane and the mid laner will go to the mid lane. The ADC will go to the bot lane along with the support. Now, because each lane is being taken up, the jungler will move through the jungle instead of going to a singular lane. These are the 5 roles that are found in almost every single game of League. And now that you know where they go, we can talk about the champions that fill these positions. In League, there are over 150 different champions, each with their own set of abilities, so this section is going to be kinda long. Luckily, each champions fit into a category that defines their role in the team as well as what they're good and bad at. So, instead of slowly going over every single champion, I will instead go over the 6 main classes, giving a brief explanation of what type of champions fit into which class. Alright, so let's get into it. First up, there are controllers who are focused on defense and protecting their allies. So next up, there are fighters, damage dealing melee champions that are also pretty tanky. Marksmen on the other hand are opposite of fighters. They have low amount of health but boost tremendous damage at range. Tanks are very durable with a ton of health that focus on disrupting the enemy team. Slayers are high damage melee champions that make up for small health pulls with high mobility. And lastly, there are mage champions that use high damaging abilities to eliminate enemies, usually at distance. So each of these classes is broken up into subclasses, but they aren't too important to learn if you're just starting to learn League. So I won't focus on that here. So since you now know how each champion is classified, let's move on to their abilities and attacks. Almost every champion has an auto attack, a passive ability, 3 basic abilities, and 1 ultimate ability. Some champions do deviate from this formula, but they are few and far between. So let's go over the basic parts of every champion's kit. First off is the auto attack, also known as AA, which every single champion has. This is the most basic way for a player to damage an enemy and only require the player to right click on the enemy. Along with the auto attack, every champion will have at least 1 passive ability, meaning that there are around 150 passive abilities in the game. Most passive abilities are always active and usually define how the champions are played. Also unique to each champion is their 3 basic abilities. These abilities require the player to press the button on the keyboard in order to activate them. After using one of these abilities, it will go on cooldown for a set of time. It can't be used until the cooldown is over. Each champion has their own 3 abilities, so there are hundreds of unique abilities in the game. and all of them have different effects. Ultimate abilities function a lot like basic abilities as they require a button to press and have cooldowns. However, ultimate abilities will always have a major impact when used. Because of this, they usually have a very long cooldown when compared to the basic abilities. Those are the major parts of every champion's kit. Now let's talk about the major objectives in the game. The objective of the game is to destroy the opposing team's nexus. In order to do this, however, you must first destroy all the outer towers, inner towers, inhibitor towers, and the inhibitor in the lane. Doing this gives you access to the nexus towers and eventually the nexus itself, winning you the game when you destroy it. This is the main objective of the game. Destroy the nexus, win the game. There are also two secondary objectives that will help you with this: the Baron Nashor and the Elemental Dragons. The Baron Nashor is a neutral monster that first spawns 20 minutes into the game at a Baron pit. Whichever team defeats the Baron will receive increased damage for 3 minutes, giving them a major boost when fighting. This is the most important secondary objective. Getting the Baron can allow you to win the game even if your team is behind. The other secondary objective is the Elemental Dragons first spawning in 5 minutes into the game and 5 minutes after that. The dragons located in the Dragon Pit gives player a permanent buff, increasing things such as the damage or movement speed. The dragons are also an important object to fight over, as their permanent buffs are helpful later in the game. As a whole, the secondary objectives will allow teams to complete their main objective, destroying the enemy nexus. And that's it for the video. Hope it was helpful to you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.